Maar dat is helemaal zo. Dat is niet mijn test. Jerege. Dat is mijn chocolade.
Tenzin Gyatso, de 14e Dalai Lama, is niet meer de politieke leider van Tibet, maar spiritueel leider van het Tibetaanse volk. Het boeddhisme is de basis van de Tibetaanse cultuur, die langzamerhand dreigt te verdwijnen. Terwijl meer en meer mensen in het Westen de boeddhistische praktijk van geweldloosheid volgen, is de wereld getuige van het feit dat meer dan 50 jonge Tibetanen zichzelf verbranden en hun leven geven voor mensenrechten en vrijheid van religie in Tibet. Het stilzwijgen van de media daarover zet mij aan antwoorden te vinden, terwijl de Dalai Lama de wereld afreist om ethiek in het onderwijs aan te sporen en het éénzijn van de mensheid.
Vanaf 9:30 is het onthaal, maar kom best vroeg, want hier moeten wel een 6000 mensen binnenkomen. Hè? En we zien elkaar morgen. Dag. Ik ben een boeddhiste die al toch 35 jaar contact heeft met dit instituut. Het is een ontwikkeling van 35 jaar. En wat ik hier doe is ondersteuning bieden, er zijn voor mezelf om de beoefening te doen en om de lama's de mogelijkheid te geven om datgene wat zij in zich hebben ook aan ons door te geven. Alles wat ik nu ken in theorie en in mijn beoefening ervaar, heb ik aan Lama Karta te danken. Hij is voor mij de vertegenwoordiger van de Boeddha, van de leer, van alles wat die leer te bieden heeft en van de zegening, van de overdrachtslijn.
Lama Karta, this is a very special moment for you. His Holiness is coming again to Hui. What do you feel like?
Oh, it's so more than wonderful that one really very special person is coming here, really in the present. So that is more than everything. We are so happy that received His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He gives very wonderful advice for not only for Buddhists, for everybody, all the human beings, all the humans. So I really hope that everybody shares, everybody profit or have a chance to have this for everyone.
Als mensen mij nu zeggen, ja, maar je blijft er zo rustig bij alles wat er hier gebeurt, dan denk ik, ah ja, zou het ook anders kunnen? En dan kun je nagaan natuurlijk dat je heel zenuwachtig kan rondlopen en naar elkaar kan schreeuwen van dit is niet in orde en dat gaat niet en wie doet dit. En dan stel je vast ja, dat je daar niet meer de neiging toe hebt, dat je dat blijkbaar die rust toch wel kunt aanhouden, ook in hectische omstandigheden. Dat is toch wel een verworvenheid.
Maar we hebben geleerd vanuit pedagogisch oogpunt strengheid te tonen en binnenin nog altijd de zachtmoedigheid te behouden. Dus dat lukt nog wel. Ja, precies, ja.
Voilà. Het is nu gedaan, hè?
Met bijzinnen en alle.
Why did you build this temple here in this place?
To have one big hall for many for the people, and at the same time we give a little touch, architect a little bit like Tibet. So like this we hope, and also we like to share this our Tibetan culture for the people who have no chance to visit Tibet. There are many different people comes here with different reasons. Some come to really to understand, some to study, some to just curiosity, some to just to see, some by accident. So it comes here.
His Holiness is no longer the political leader of Tibet. Is there a difference in meeting him?
His Holiness Dalai Lama is His Holiness Dalai Lama. Whatever he change color, he stays Dalai Lama. So we see him very precious.
Het is de grootste sereniteit als ik die man daar zie toekomen. Zo opgewekt, vrolijk stappend, vol interesse voor iedereen die hem daar komt begroeten. Voor iedereen een blik, een herkenningsmoment.
산재배 중에 랑 야와도 현재를 제시하게 판례도 연애되네 라네 되게 뭔가 연대도 어떤 되게 지대고 되게 강사 통을 여시 다 통을 여시 다 산재배 중은 안에 다 모티베이션 패지 껴넣으시 되게 중지에 되게 딱 무지고 다음 되게 변의 지로 자신에 다른 신기 장자 참여 자신에 이 되게 다음 되고요. 가사가 다음 되고요. 자, 대내인도 풍부 소리 풍부로서 풍부가 양을 리스닝이 시셔야 게또 선지도와 강사 탄에 놔야게 역시 또르디 남시 풍부도 지도와在这类的上呢，律师你是生了的，他们也上当过呀。
Dalai Lama voor ons is alles. Hij is geestelijke leider, hij is ook een politieke leider, maar nu heeft hij dingen, zijn macht aan de democratische regering aangegeven. Maar hij is toch voor ons alles. En waarom? Omdat hij, door hem, wij hebben kunnen veel kunnen genieten van hulp van alle Westen, van de Indiase regering. Als Dalai Lama was niet daar, dan zal het Tibetaanse volk het moeilijk hebben. Bijvoorbeeld kan India kunnen ook weigeren om toe te vangen al de vluchtelingen. Maar door Dalai Lama, zijn persoonlijkheid, alle landen appreciëren hem en daar accepteert hem. En daarom al de Tibetanen kunnen genieten van hem.
Voor mij persoonlijk is een soort heilige, iemand die heilig is, eerlijk en hoe moet ik uitleggen? Het is heel speciaal.
Wij gaan een moment meemaken dat geen protocolair moment is, maar een moment dat gesteund is door iets wat gedragen wordt door vriendschap van hart tot hart.
Nous sommes très honorés de votre visite, votre 5e visite. Et ça, c'est tout à fait exceptionnel. Parce que la ville de Huy est très honorée que vous veniez faire vivre le sang d'Jöteling, recevoir un prix Nobel de la paix que vous avez reçu en 1989 est exceptionnel. Vous vous battez contre l'obscurantisme, le fanatisme et l'intolérance. Et ce combat-là, il est universel. Et vous avez la force de vos idées. Les idées abattent les régimes les plus durs. C'était peut-être le message de Solzhenitsyn quand il était dans les camps de concentration staliniens. Oh. Alors le Dalai Lama, par ce qu'il représente, par la sagesse qu'il dégage, par l'autorité morale, par la spiritualité qu'il a également, par la défense du bouddhisme tibétain, est une personnalité dans le monde reconnue comme telle. Et il a été bien sûr le prix Nobel de la paix. On sent que le Dalai Lama irradie de la sagesse, de la compassion, du bonheur, on le sent. On sent que c'est un homme gentil. Mais alors ce qui est extraordinaire avec lui, c'est que ça se traduit dans des actes au quotidien et dans sa politique générale, par la théorie de la non-violence. Et ça, c'est important. Et alors on sent cette force, on sent qu'il a une force. Et alors, il a exprimé, bien sûr, un peu, il s'est exprimé en anglais pour un peu décrire la situation politique en Chine. Et on sentait quand même aucun ressentiment, mais une analyse, une vraie analyse politique, une analyse très consciente et très visionnaire, je dirais, mais sans rancune, sans rancœur, sans amertume. Et ça, je crois que c'est important. On sent qu'il est ouvert sur le monde et il est ouvert aussi sur la Chine, en disant la Chine, entre guillemets, changera parce qu'elle va vers la liberté, que les Chinois et le peuple chinois veulent plus de liberté. Donc ça permettra aussi au Tibet un jour et certainement à leur religion de se développer.
Your Holiness, it is with the greatest joy and gratitude that we welcome you to Yönteling how truly wonderful to have the blessings of your auspicious presence here for the 5th time. The inside of the statue has been filled with the precious relics of the Buddha that Your Holiness gave to us. We hope that Yondeling becomes an open and authentic Buddhist center where one can learn, study, and benefit from the Buddhist teaching. Since 7 years, we have organized special programs for non-Buddhist group as well. Every year we have been going to teach to more than 2,500 people. Your Holiness, we rejoice in seeing how you accomplish so many meaningful activities while living positive messages throughout the world. Your kindness, wisdom, sound advice, teachings, and blessing are indeed a true inspiration to us all. Your most noble activities certainly strengthen our devotion towards the Buddha Dharma and towards spiritual and human values. Allow me to end by offering the dedication of all our efforts and merits to your long life. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Dear friends, and also dear spiritual brothers from different major world traditions, rest of brothers and sisters, or I should say, we basically same human being. I always stress we are sameness of humanity. That means mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And then more important, desire to achieve happy life and desire less trouble. Everybody is same. Even animals also have the same feeling. Then important, everyone have same right to fulfill this desire. So now, when I talk to you, if I consider myself as an Asian and Tibetan, a Buddhist, then that kind of mental attitude itself creates some barrier. If I keep in my mind, I'm one of you, we are same human being, then immediately that sort of barrier no longer there. It is very important to know ultimate source of happiness is within ourselves. If we try to seek genuine happiness from externally, from outside, it's wrong. We must realize. If no challenge, then you may not further develop, particularly in the field of Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist logics. All these serving Buddha Dharma, strengthening Buddha's message of altruism, love, compassion, forgiveness, like that. So all major religious traditions use different philosophical views, philosophical argument, but the same purpose to strengthening the practitioner's sort of willingness, the practice of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, like that. Buddha himself used to express, "Oh, my follower should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. So that is a scientific way of sort of approach. Since this is something spiritual work, so all people, directly or indirectly, have some connection with this. And from Buddhist viewpoint, you see, you made some kind of merit. So it is important to dedicate all these merits, not one's own good health or more money or more successful about corruptions. Should not pray that way, should not dedicate that way, but simply, you see, dedicate for well-being of others, infinite sentient being, particularly human being on this planet. So that's important. So thank you, that's all.
Could you please recall the first time you met His Holiness?
Yes, I had just been appointed ambassador to India. It was in the May '91, so a long time ago. And in June, the representative of His Holiness came to see me. And of course, we sympathized immediately, and came up the idea that I would visit His Holiness in Dharamsala. And whenever I see him, I just feel happy. I don't know what's about him. There is something like an incredible energy. You look at him, he speaks to you, and you feel absolutely happy. I'm using my life to tell stories which are a little bit more interesting, including, of course, my meeting with His Holiness, all the experience I had with him, and also it's also an occasion to describe the situation in Tibet. I also speak about Aung San Suu Kyi. I also was ambassador in Burma when I was in Thailand, and I know Aung San Suu Kyi quite well, so it was also an occasion to speak about that. It was an occasion to speak about Somalia. It was an occasion to speak about Mustang. It was an occasion to speak about the Mau movement. I was in Kenya, the occasion to speak about the Lingayat, about the system of the caste. I mean, my professional life, which I've used also to know a little bit better the situation of countries where I've served or lived and I was acquainted with.
No one talking about inner values and moral principles. Big business only think money. They easily exchange moral ethics and money. They easily change. Politicians, again, the moral ethics, not important. So our thinking, basic level, our thinking is something wrong. Because we too much emphasis about material value. Now, how to change that? Through prayer. I think we 1,000 years, we always pray, but fail to bring satisfactory result. Individual level, yes, prayer really brings inner strength. But real change of the world through prayer is unrealistic. So genuine, peaceful world, happy world, no longer this huge gap, rich and poor, and immense corruptions without these things and without crimes. That kind of world should be our goal, our target, not just a material development, but real, peaceful, compassionate world. That through awareness, through education.
I think that when I met him, I was probably more ambitious, more aggressive, and I had maybe less compassion for other people. I think he taught me that. And he also taught me, something which is very important, and the biggest fight is with yourself, is not with the others.
One of the causes of the evil problem, we too much emphasis secondary level of differences. Differences of religion, differences of race, differences of nationality, and then within that, differences of rich and poor, educated, uneducated, like that. So we too much emphasis on the secondary level, so then we neglect or forget about the oneness of humanity.
More and more people are aware of what he means. But at the same time, less and less governments have the courage to receive him and to acknowledge what he means. The pressure that Peking is putting on a lot of governments, it's working. Not in all the governments. Some governments are still have enough courage to stand to it. But more and more politicians with the idea that we are making money with China and that money is very important are a little bit afraid of receiving officially His Holiness. But I think that the action of His Holiness has been incredible in the sense that clearly enough the Tibetan culture the Chinese wanted to kill in Tibet. They are importing more and more Chinese, and the majority in fact are Muslim Chinese, just to bother the Indians. And in some places like Lhasa, by now the Tibetans are the minority. So it's a way of killing the culture. And I think the greatest achievement of His Holiness is that he was able to get the Tibetan culture to live outside of Tibet. Buddhism is touching more and more people, and I think that for the people it's meaning a lot, and it's meaning a lot every day more.
We need practice of patience. So, in order to practice patience and tolerance, you must need someone who creates problem. Therefore, the practice of tolerance and forgiveness is necessary. So who gives you that opportunity is your enemy. So therefore, from that viewpoint, your enemy is actually best teacher for this practice.
The Chinese have been so much disciplined by the type of education they've received. Then it is so strict, at least up till now, maybe it's going to change, let's hope it's going to change, but up till now, communism has such an impact on them, and then at the same time they are afraid of minorities. It's the Han culture which is imposing itself, and it's not only the Tibetan who are suffering from the communists. In fact, I'm wrong when I say Chinese. I would have to say, the communist regime and Chinese who are being, educated under communism. Then maybe in Tibet they are more afraid really to attack them in a very clear way, because they know that the press and the media are looking at it.
Then also I think one serious sort of matter is this gap, rich and poor. Northern world, industrialized nations, their sort of living standard high, economic conditions high, and then southern world, very difficult. And like that, we have to address this seriously. Ultimately, very much related with the concept of oneness of humanity. We all have same right to achieve prosperity or happy life. Today's reality, actually, everyone, in economic field or environmental issues, global warming, and in many cases, we heavily interdependent. That's now reality. One cause of this sort of crisis is too much greed. And then also, without knowing the reality, and create some, speculation. So that also related with short-sightedness and a lack of holistic view, and that means ignorance. So therefore, even this economic crisis which we are now at present we are facing, you see, here also, you see, some sort of relations with our own way of thinking. So now time comes. We must carry more investigation how to introduce education about moral ethics from kindergarten up to university level. The moral ethics, education about moral ethics must be part of the education system. In education, secular education field should include secular way of education about warm-heartedness. That I think we can produce. There are now people who already carry some preparation or investigation, research work. I think within next perhaps 2 years, I think we may produce some material. Then one school carry experiment. If then see 5 years, look, so after 5 years, some concrete positive result there, then we can expand another 10 schools, another 100 schools. That's the way to adopt global level.
One should educate from the beginning, when they are very young children till university, ethical values, and one of those ethical values would be non-violence. I don't know if youth always understand, the value of non-violence, because for non-violence you need a lot of patience. Sometimes with violence you might obtain something faster, but maybe it is something faster which is not as good as what you would obtain with more time and with more patience and with non-violence. But it's a question of education, of moral values and of ethical values, which for the moment are maybe lacking a little bit.
And also I think the immense expenditure of military budget. Military budget. Actually, I think concept of war and violence very much based on the concept we strong, we and they. So destruction of them, victory, we. So that's also a concept. In ancient time, yes, different nations, this is different interest, more or less independent interest. So destruction of your neighbor as your enemy is a victory. Now modern time, destroy of your neighbor is destruction of yourself. So that's today's reality. So we have to promote the concept of oneness of entire humanity. And then in economy, in international relations, in many fields, I think we should priorities on the oneness of the world, oneness of humanity. That's my main interest and concern.
Je pense que la théorie de la non-violence appliquée en politique a déjà quand même fait ses preuves, avec le Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela en Afrique du Sud ou Martin Luther King aux États-Unis. Je rappelais tantôt Jean Jaurès en Europe, qui a essayé d'éviter la guerre 14-18 et qui a été assassiné puisqu'il disait « les armées doivent faire grève et il ne faut pas se battre ». Nous sommes tous des prolétaires. À l'époque, il avait une sensibilité socialiste, donc tous les prolétaires de tous les pays, allemands ou français, ne peuvent pas faire la guerre. Et je pense que la philosophie de la non-violence est une philosophie qui se développe de plus en plus. Et je pense qu'elle se développe d'autant plus que, pour le moment, elle est symbolisée par le Dalai Lama.
Your Holiness, on the despair of young Tibetans who self-immolate, which is seen as an act of violence, please share your vision about that.
Of course, this is very, very sensitive political questions. Because the Chinese government, everything is blamed on me. So I prefer, remain silence, no comment. I often telling, when I met Chinese brothers sisters, when they ask this sort of questions, then I often mention, if I tell truth, they feel angry. I cannot tell lie. So the only alternative is close mouth, like that.
Ze kunnen niet meer dragen die probleem dat China hebben gecreëerd in Tibet. En daarom ze protesteren en om zelf in de brand te steken. Dat is hetzelfde als ze leeft ook altijd zit in de brand. Dat is een heel erg, ik vind. Er is al die Tibetanen die in Tibet zitten, zoveel pijn, zoveel lijden door moeten.
Maar het blijkt zo'n beetje de enige mogelijkheid te zijn, zelfs om wat belangstelling te krijgen voor de zaak Tibet. Want ze is zowel wat naar de achtergrond geduwd. Zij hebben niet zoveel middelen om daar tegenin te gaan. Als je wat kiest voor geweldloosheid, heb je niet veel middelen. Maar natuurlijk, die zelfverbrandingen zijn ook vormen van gewelddadigheid. Het is een noodkreet. Ik zie dat als een noodkreet.
10th of March 2008, when I received information from demonstration in Lhasa, I developed same sort of experience which occurred in 1959 10th March. Helplessness and fear, anxiety. But then I visualize these, I may say troublemaker, those decision maker, visualize, then that practice take and give, that you know, so it, of course, won't help the problem, the situation, but in order to keep my peace of mind, or immense help.
Okay, by doing that, they attract attention to the situation. That, of course, is important. It is important for the world to know that still, you know, things terrible are happening there. But clearly enough, I mean, even though they attract the attention of the people, as I was saying, people maybe are suffering from that, and they are suffering for them. But governments are, the majority, are much more, you know, nearer to Peking now than they were 20 or 30 years ago. But honestly, I think the media have an incredible role to do. Because when media are really insisting on something, politicians follow. Politicians are always afraid of what the media can say. Because after all, you know, to be elected, they have to count on media. We are in that type of world.
So here maybe a little political sort of come. Hu Jintao, when Hu Jintao became president, he emphasized promotion of harmonious society. I totally sort of support, agree, wonderful. But you see, his method, using force. So force brings fear. Fear destroys trust. So genuine harmony must develop on trust. The Chinese government, through my sort of also the censorship, and then also distorted information. So I hope, I wish, like late Hu Yangpang and Zhao Ziyang, these people, very realistic people. So I think new Hu Yangpang, new Zhao Ziyang, I hope eventually come.
And I have a theory, I don't know if it is the right theory or not. I think Chinese, you know, in the mentality of Chinese, they respect force. They respect people who are standing for their principle and people who are not afraid. And I think that by reacting, then some of the governments are reacting. I mean, not only, I think they are laughing, you know, they think they are so weak, you know, it's so amusing. We go there, we say boo, boo, and everybody gets afraid.
Now, the biological factor, sense of concern of others' well-being and affection, that's a biological factor. That actually seed of or practice of compassion, but itself limited biological factor. And also that kind of sense of concern of others' well-being oriented about others' attitude. That kind of sort of limited compassion cannot extend towards your enemy, troublemaker. However, use our human intelligence. Look, long-term benefit, long-term interest. With help of human intelligence, we can develop that seed of compassion, further develop that unbiased compassion, not oriented others' attitude, but being itself. So your enemy also, as far as their attitude is concerned, negative towards you. But they also same sort of sentient being. They also have the right to overcome suffering. So you can develop sense of genuine concern of their well-being. So that's unbiased, infinite love, compassion. All major religious traditions, you see, talking that, and also have the ability to promote that. Then without religion, as I mentioned earlier, the secular way, through education, through awareness, And also the latest scientific finding, more compassionate heart, physical much healthier, and peace of mind then come. Because open heart, you see, brings trust. Trust is the basis of friendship. We human beings, social animal, we need friend, isn't it? I think some billionaire, very rich, but money or the diamond, or the rings, no ability to show you affection. So these billionaires, and towards human beings, sometimes they lost their faith or distrust. Everybody here, in fact, 7 billion human beings, and also number of different mammals and birds. You see, after they are born, they survived by mother's affection. Everybody should have that experience. So therefore, everybody have the seed of compassion, affection there. And then also, not necessarily based on religious faith. Irrespective whether religious believer or non-believer, we all have the same potential of human affection, self-concern. So through education, I usually call secular way of education. Secular education, we can promote these basic values. Itself is secular values. When I say secularism, does not mean disrespect religion. It means respect all religions and also respect a non-believer. I think that's a very good sort of concept.
When the Chinese have an interest to sign a contract, you don't receive the Dalai Lama. For them, it's exactly the same. They are going to make a démarche. They are going to tell you they are not very happy. They are not going to speak to you maybe for 1 month, maybe for 2 months, and then that's it. There is a fantastic example of that. When a few years ago, it's already a long time ago, the Knesset in Israel had invited His Holiness. And the Chinese, they were discussing an extremely important contract. It was really millions and millions. And the government, of course, received all the démarches from the Chinese saying, well, look, I mean, you received, His Holiness, the contract won't be signed. So the government tried to put some pressure on the Knesset, which is the parliament. And they say, no, sorry, we have invited His Holiness, we are going to receive him. They received him. They didn't sign the contract for 1 month. On the second month, they signed the contract because, it was the interest. So, I mean, my personal view is that the governments are absolutely wrong, to react the way they react whenever there is some Chinese pressure. Chinese only see their own interest. If their own interest is to sign a contract, to buy something in our country, and clear enough to sell to our countries, they will do it.
In human history, and very early period, no concept of leadership. Then gradually population increase, then farming system also you see develop or increasing, and then some mischievous people, some injustice things happen. Then the concept of leadership you see develop. So at that time, no rule of education. So in order to become leader, then a strong body, like this person's body, very strong body. That's the real sort of qualification in order to become leader. So the concept of, sorry, excuse. So the male dominance, dominant, then develop. Then education develop. Education brings more equality, isn't it? Not entirely developed on physical strength. Sometimes it's very good educated, very good brain, small physical, can be leader. So in any way, so therefore, now, today's world, today's reality, education mainly oriented economy development that kind of education really highly developed. But education for warm-heartedness is we are lacking. So biological factor, female have more sensitivity about others' pain. I think past also the heroes, most cases male. So therefore, now at the time, we must make special effort, promotion of human compassion, human affection. Female should take more active role. That's my thinking. And therefore, sometimes I describe, in case Dalai Lama's institution should continue, and next Dalai Lama, possibly one female.
I think the Chinese don't take, European much more, very seriously anymore. I remember when I was in Geneva in the Human Rights Commission. At that time, we still were presenting a draft resolution on the human rights situation in Tibet. And what was happening is that the Chinese were presenting a no-motion action. And the no-motion action was normally passing because there were a lot of delegations who didn't receive instruction from their country. It was not Europeans, clearly enough. The Europeans didn't vote for the no-action motion, but some African and some Asian. And then it happened twice, and then we say, okay, let's forget about it. Instead of forgetting about it, what we should have done, it was instead of presenting one draft resolution, to present more. Then maybe, under that type of pressure, maybe the Chinese would have changed. And then also, we also could take also some measures as far as trade is concerned. If one could convince people not to buy Chinese products, and that the media can do a lot about that, then maybe, Peking will start changing.
If you carry your life honest, truthful, frank, transparent, then you get more self-confidence. If you carry hypocritically or some negative feeling towards others, like suspicion or distrust, then you cannot develop self-confidence. My next of the life. My favorite sort of prayer, I always pray in daily basis. And also sometimes whenever I have time, I repeat that prayer. That is so long space remain. Is that prayer my favorite prayer? So that means after this life, where some sort of opportunity serving people, serving sentient being, there I should go on. That's my sort of prayer. So we human beings, this planet is our only home. Therefore, we have to take the care of our own home.
Wilt u naar aanleiding van deze uitzending reageren of een gratis programmagids bestellen? Bezoek dan onze website boeddhistischeomroep.nl. DVD's van onze programma's kunt u bestellen op 010 411 3977.